everybody. Welcome to the Hallmark MYSTIC podcast and Merry Christmas. We are here to talk about one of this weekend's movies. We're talking about Mystic Christmas. And I'm really excited today to have with me Ryan and Kelly from Rom-Com Gents are here to talk about this film. And thank you so much to both of you for coming on talking about this fun Hallmark movie.
Thank you. Hello.
Thanks for having us. Glad to be back.
Glad to
Yay.
be here.
Yes. Well, I thought of you both because I remember when we had you on, and I remember on your podcast you talking about Mystic Pizza and how much you enjoyed it, and I thought well, maybe this will be a little more of an homage to Mystic Pizza than it was, but it really wasn't hardly at all. But nevertheless,
it has Mystic.
It had pizza and was in the town of Mystic.
Yes.
And I do like the town of Mystic.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
So for the people that have missed that, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. I know you're on hiatus with your podcast, but what do you have going on right now?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
We haven't recorded a podcast in 9 months.
Oh boy.
Boy.
Yes, so I'm Ryan. This is Kelly.
Hello.
We're the Rom-Com Gents. We love rom-coms, and we have a show, the Rom-Com Gents, where we review rom-coms every week, usually when we're not on hiatus. We're on hiatus right now because we're in the middle of we're developing a couple of films, and we're getting another film ready to get going soon. So it's very exciting.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Filmmaking, podcasting. That's what we do.
Are you allowed to tell us, is it a rom-com that you're working on?
It's a com. We have a com.
Okay.
And then we are zigging the other way, and we have a thriller that we're also developing.
We are working on a rom-com script right now, but it's not ready.
A couple rom-com scripts.
Oh, two. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, really, there's been a resurgence.
Oh yeah.
Not just on TV movies, but in the theatrical, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Our queen Meg Ryan is coming back with David Duchovny.
Mm-hmm.
And this week.
It's this week. Wow.
Yeah, this week. It comes out on Thursday. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because there's no critic screening, which usually isn't a great sign. But she hasn't done a movie in 15 years. You figure that it would have to be pretty good for her, not only to be in it, but to be directing it. But...
Yeah. Fingers crossed. But we're gonna have a You've Got Mail viewing party the day after Thanksgiving. So I mean, we'll have a ball if it's not.
Well, it's a dress up party, right?
Yeah.
You dress
those quizzes.
You dress up like Joe Fox every day.
I found a beer the other day that's called Freshly Sharpened Pencils.
Oh,
so I got a bunch of those.
Oh man, we should do a You've Got Mail episode. I love that movie.
It's the best,
and we'd love to. We've done, I think, 3 episodes on You've Got Mail now.
Probably.
Between our podcast and guesting on other podcasts.
Yeah.
That's how much we love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it so much. I mean, I love just the whole perfumery franchise. I'd love it's almost hard to do wrong. I love She Loves Me on Broadway. It's one of my favorite musicals. I love Shop Around the Corner.
Yeah.
The original with Jimmy Stewart. Even The Good Old Summertime, which is not as good with Judy Garland, but still, there's just something. There's just something about that story of people falling in love over their words. It's just they don't even know it, and it's so romantic. And I tell you, if you are a big You've Got Mail fan, last year the Hanukkah on the Rye on Hallmark was my favorite of all of Countdown to Christmas, which is kind of crazy that a Hanukkah, not even about Christmas, that a Hanukkah movie was my favorite.
That's wonderful.
But it was so well done, well written, funny, and it kind of has that same element. These two people are being matched, but their parents are both own different diners, so they're kind of rivalries, but they don't realize that they're writing each other letters. And
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
So
it's
really on the watch list.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really good. But nevertheless, today we're talking about Mystic Christmas, and this one was on the 28th. It stars Jesse Schramm, Chandler Massey, Patty Murin, William R. Moses, and is directed by Marlo Hunter and writers Nicole Drespel, Andrew Gernard, and Christy O'Connor. And it's Juniper travels to Mystic, Connecticut during the holidays to work at the Rehabilitation Center and Aquarium. She reconnects with Sawyer, the owner of the pizza shop. So overall, what did you think of this movie?
Can
overall.
I go first? As
Yeah.
the resident skeptic.
Okay.
I actually think this is to date my favorite Hallmark Christmas movie.
Huh?
Mhm.
That you've seen.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the only thing that at first turns me off is that it is a complete bastardization of the mystic pizza genre.
Yeah.
Where
It's barely a pizza shop. Like
Yeah.
it's a like cafe, coffee shop
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah, and it feels like they call it Mystic Christmas, and the fact that it is set in a pizza shop feels like the filmmaker loves Mystic Pizza, and hey, I love them for that. And seemingly they love Anne of Green Gables, which is also one of my other favorite stories.
Yeah, they threw that in there for you.
And so it felt more like I was watching a Marvel or a Star Wars film where they make a reference to another Marvel or Star Wars film, and they're like, "Hey, fans, you get it, right?"
Yeah,
love
wink,
the thing
wink.
that you love.
But besides that, I was actually very pleasantly surprised with this one. What about you?
I was quietly optimistic that it would be good because of the reason of the filmmakers are like, we've got bona fides, we have good taste, we like Mystic Pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I respect you.
I mean, I was pretty sure I was going to enjoy it enough to, make it a solo episode, which we tend to group things together, because I would love Chandler and I love Jesse. I think they are super charming.
Great chemistry.
Yeah, and I figured they would have good chemistry, and they did. And I thought the banter was successful. It was a lot of fun. The plot, I was kind of
Yeah.
The plot I didn't love. Well, lately in a lot of rom-coms, we've been seeing the whole we don't live near each other, so we can never fall in love. And
Right.
I'm kind of tired of that plot.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with this, it was more than just, oh, we don't live near each other. It's more of like we have total different like lifestyles. She's like the globetrotter and he's the but it just all feels like this can be solved in like 15 minutes of talking,
turn him into a seal and they can be together forever.
Like you just if you love each other enough, you just find a place you want to live and
figure it out.
like
But I did respect that, I didn't have high expectations for a plot line because these movies try to keep it really simple because you kind of have to duck into it. Like if you come in to the movie 30 minutes late, like you kind of catch on to the plot and be like, okay, so here's what's happening. Yeah. But I liked that the story was like, it was both, they had their own inner conflicts to work out, that she can't stay tied down. He's kind of idolizing his town and doesn't have the courage to do more things with his life.
She does call him out at one point in time for that, where she's like, you can't leave because you feel like people won't need you anymore if you leave. And I was like, well, it feels like last time he left, that's his whole backstory, is he left and his dad died, so he had to come back. So I feel like he'd be afraid that if he left, something bad might happen.
Yeah.
He didn't seem superstitious. He just seemed a little stitious.
Yeah. Well, and I also, I guess where I was a little like, is that I feel like there's such a happy medium of like just travel some.
Right.
And then be at home some.
Maybe find a middle ground here, you guys.
I love these childless people who just have a bunch of like money where they're like, yeah, no problem, I'm gonna travel for a year, no big deal.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I mean, it's not like you haven't lived a life if you just like go for a couple of weeks during the summer, right? Like there's nothing wrong.
He's like, I have to go for a year.
Also, Juniper, calm down. It's okay if people spend their whole lives in one town.
Yeah.
Stop judging.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I mean, it was a nice ending that they had, that we'll talk more about it, but that they kind of allowed both of them to fulfill their dreams, and that, so that was nice that neither of them had, because for a long time in these Hallmark movies, basically the girl from the city came to the country and then was expected to just give up all of city life because city life is bad. And because she found, the hometown hunk. And that was annoying, like, why should she have to give everything up for this guy? But now, like, I feel like the compensation for that is like, we live in different places, there's no hope for our love, and I'm like, that's also stupid.
Yeah. Well, I liked how she's not a city girl; she's a world-class
Yeah.
traveler.
Yeah.
She was like, "I was going to spend Christmas in Norway." I'm like, "That sounds magical. Why would you stay here?"
So I think what we're seeing here is the city girl is becoming the world girl, and eventually
Yeah.
she's gonna become the
It's
spacefaring girl.
planetary girl.
Right.
Well,
She's from Mars. He's from Venus.
We're from different worlds, literally.
there just was one about an astronaut who,
Ooh.
just
The
the week
taglines write
before.
themselves. Can you,
Yeah.
speaking of setting, this looks like it was actually set in perhaps like and filmed in Mystic?
Yeah, I think it actually was. And I guess the Mango restaurant and also the Sift Bakery, I guess those are like legit real.
Yeah,
Like,
because
those
I looked
are
at the production company.
Mystic.
There was a post-production company used that was in Connecticut, so they had to have been using them.
So
Yeah.
like this makes me feel like more resources were put towards this film than maybe some of the other ones that are coming out.
Yeah, I thought it looked.
year.
I didn't think it looked like a more traditional Hallmark movie of like anonymous small town.
Right, exactly. The production, like from a couple of filmmakers, I don't know about you, but it felt like the art department had both more and less work to do.
Right.
Mhm.
And the lighting was like a little bit better. The editing still felt like a Hallmark movie, but you know,
There were some really
Yeah.
nice filmmaking touches where like she's in her. I don't really understand her best friend's living situation. She's like, I live in this like very normal sized house, but I have this giant ADU behind me, so you can live in that guest house. My living
Yeah.
room is a shoebox, but you can stay in the guest house.
Which I felt like they missed out on some humor.
Yeah.
Like if they had both been at the house, I think that could have been funny, like running into each other. and
Was the
stuff.
brother living at the house too? Was Sawyer living?
Yeah,
at the
he's
house?
always around. It's like 8 a.m. He's like, I'm just hanging out here.
Yeah, I think he was living. I thought he was living there.
Yeah, at the beginning she said, my brother lives with me." So, and there should have been like a lot of scenes where one of the two of them were like changing, and the other window was right across, and they were like, "Oh no, he almost saw me in my towel. I had to duck down."
Yeah, he could
Or
have had some
This is
fun
Hallmark.
stuff.
She would have been. They almost saw me in my
bathrobe. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
that would have been hilarious. I would have
In my
loved that.
nightcap.
I do feel like it was a bit of a underuse of Patty Mirren. I love her so much. And
Yeah, she's really good.
yeah. And she was in one last year where she was the lead, called In Merry Measure, which I loved and adored. I thought it was really fun. And of course she's so musically talented, and she's so lovely that I could have used more Patty Mirren.
Yeah. Well, I wanted another romance. I wanted a subplot for her. She didn't really get a subplot.
I would have liked that. That would have been fun.
Like her I guess her subplot was that she kept being reassuring to her child, and what she needed to do was see what her child needed a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that.
So it was nice.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Well, I guess maybe before we dive
Before we
into
spoil
this
the
movie,
movie even more
we
than
should
we
maybe
already have.
say, like, what is it that you particularly loved or admired about Mystic Pizza?
Oh, Mystic Pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
Let's
so
talk
we
a
have
little bit
another
about
hour
that
and a half,
for people
right?
that haven't.
Mystic Pizza is you would think it's the beginning of the Julia Roberts canon, but it's much more than that.
It's much more
Yeah.
than that. There's a distinct feeling not only in the filmmaking but also just in the I don't know, like the je ne sais quoi.
I would call it,
the,
there's a humanism to it that the best rom-coms have is a humanistic quality where
Yeah.
it's taking a look at the three main characters of these three young women, and it's their coming of age, and it's different levels of coming of age and dealing with relationships and these hard life lessons that are painful, but they have to go through. But it's very tenderhearted about
yeah.
what happens to them.
And it treats all of its characters as if they're like, I mean, you already said it, it's humanistic, because like the three men that each of these young women fall in love with are extremely different and very surprising, and
Really dynamic.
yeah,
They all came out in ways that we were surprised by every turn. We thought Julia Roberts' guy was going to be just the blank, kind of like jerky rich guy,
yeah,
but
and
he's
ending
so much
up
more
being
than
an
that.
antagonist, you know.
But he was so much more.
Yeah, and the fisherman, the Vincent D'Onofrio character, he's
Oh,
like
I
this,
love him.
Yeah.
he's this blue collar guy,
Yeah, he
and
was
you
good.
think he's just gonna be like, I'm a small town guy and I don't have a lot of emotions, and then he ends up being the one in the movie who has the most love in his heart.
And the most like in touchness with his inner core, and is
Yeah.
not physically driven, as opposed to his lady who is much more physically driven, and he's like, I have feelings, I want you
Yeah.
to regard
Appreciate
my
those.
feelings.
That's the best, I think, of the romances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that's the affair, like, I mean, it's supposed to be kind of like, but
Yeah.
I remember when I watched that movie, I enjoyed it. I was way more invested in the friendship of the three women
Yes, and
than
that's
I
the
was
other
with
thing.
any of the romances.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great movie about friendship, where at the end of this movie you have these three women who are still friends, even though they've gone through a lot of things in this past like end of the summer, beginning of
Yeah.
the fall, and all you want to do is see, like, all I want is a sequel to this movie, but almost as a TV series, where I get like the Gilmore Girls version.
Yeah,
Because
I could see that.
Mystic feels like a Stars Hollow with a little bit more depth to it, and that's another
Mhm.
thing I love about that movie, is you feel like you could really live in this place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun one. I recommend people check it out. I think it holds up pretty
Thank
well.
you
I
for
did it for my
evangelizing.
blind
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
series, I think last year, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Well, let's talk about this movie then. One of the things that impressed me the most about this movie is I really appreciated them bringing up like new Christmas traditions. When you see as many
Mhm.
of these movies as I do, it's pretty hard to find new things that I've
We're going
never heard of.
caroling again.
Yeah. And I have to say, so far, there's been, I think, 4 Hallmark movies that I've watched at least, and of this season, and each one has done a pretty good job of like finding new, interesting, fun traditions.
Mhm.
And there were quite a few in this. Like, even from the very beginning, I had never heard of this donkey song in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how is this possible
I
with
still
as
haven't.
much Christmas stuff that I hear, that I had never heard of this donkey song?
I wanted to hear the donkey
Yeah.
song. Honestly, it felt like
But-
Chekhov's donkey song, where at the end we would
Mhm.
hear this
I know.
song, but I don't
I
even know if
like-
it exists.
Maybe
Like,
the
I thought she
rights
made it up.
are
Yep.
Dominic the donkey. No, it's a real
Mhm.
thing. I looked it up. I was
Okay.
like, what is
Okay.
this
Hey.
song?
I love it.
And
And
so
I like
thought
how
that was
I like the
fun.
other tradition where they break into a bookstore and they steal a
Yes.
bunch of books.
Yeah, and they
they're
just
like, "It's
dance
for
around the whole
Christmas.
time like a bunch
I
of
had
bitches.
We are thieves."
The Icelandic book flood.
So she
I
says it
had
about 4
never
different
heard
ways
of
in the
this.
movie, but it's Yoka Boka Flodden.
Yoka Boka Flodden.
Yoka Boka
Well,
flood.
It's a book flood.
We've been
is-
doing
is
it.
the
My wife
translation.
and I have been doing it for several years.
Yeah, we started it.
Did they
remember?
break into the bookstore? I
It
didn't. I
seemed
guess
like
I
it.
missed that
Who's
part. of
running
it.
that
I thought that
bookstore?
They just were in the bookstore.
They're doing like Looney Tunes antics, where like one is running into the other one.
I just
Oh,
really
no.
wish a cop came in. What are you guys doing? It's Boca Hoka bookstore.
There's like glass on the floor, and
But
a
I had
Christmas
never heard of
tradition.
this or seen it in a Christmas movie. I thought it was really fun, and the
Yeah, it was
idea of
pretty
just
good.
like sitting and reading together.
It's a wonderful tradition because you get to. It's when you get to trick someone into reading a book that you've been wanting them to read forever. It's like you
Yeah.
have to. It's Christmas.
yeah,
You
it's
share
perfect for
they and
introverts.
they share. It made such a cozy moment of like, oh, we'll just share this blanket together.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, I would like to reenact a moment for a second here. Kelly, I've
Oh,
been meaning to give this to you for a while here. Here is your copy of Anne of Green Gables that I've been wanting to give you for the past couple months because I saw it and I thought of you and I wanted to give you a copy of Anne of Green Gables.
Actually, this is my old birthday present.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
But it's for Christmas now. So Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Boca Floating to
I
you.
Merry
didn't
Boca
realize you were such a Anna Green Gables fan.
Oh, he's a super stan.
Oh my
Well,
gosh, I
'cause
love it.
that's-
Ryan is slowly getting on board too.
Yeah, I like it. I dig it.
Because that's was actually like a foundation of Hallmarkies podcast, because originally my friend who I did the podcast with originally, I'd asked friends if anybody wanted to cover Anne with an E, and
Mm.
we covered it, and my friend said, oh yeah, I'll cover it. And so we watched it. We both did not like it at all. And so we were like, what else could we talk about that would be fun and get this horrible taste out of our mouth of the show
The
we hate?
real Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, and so we were like, well, let's talk about Hallmark movies,
Mm.
because we love those, and those are
Mm.
happy.
Have
And,
you done a 1985 Anne of Green Gables
Yes,
yet?
well,
Okay.
we did. I mean, that was one of our very first episodes that we
Okay,
did.
great.
Yeah.
I think that 1985 Anne of Green Gables, I think, is perfect.
Oh,
Like,
me too.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
change a darn thing about it.
I think Megan Follows. I mean, alongside Colleen Dewhurst, Richard Farnsworth,
Perfect.
they are the greatest actors that
Richard
nobody.
Farnsworth is the guy.
Yeah, he's
Well,
Matthew.
man.
Matthew, the dad.
And Jonathan
yeah.
Crombie, like we lost a treasure when
Oh,
Jonathan.
I know.
Oh man,
That was sad.
you should.
But
we
yeah,
should
no,
cover those when we get the show back on.
Yeah,
We should do
yes.
those.
We will.
If you need a
Yeah.
guest, I love it too.
I've had that checked out from the library now, because I don't actually own the Blu-ray. I checked it out from the library, and nobody has checked. It makes me sad partially, but happy as well, because libraries around here, as long as nobody else wants your thing that you check out, you can just keep it. And
Nice.
so I've had it now for like 4 weeks, and I'm like, I might just own this Blu-ray now.
Yeah.
I really do love that series. It's so good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought it made the movie special. That the fact that they came up with new fun traditions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
being a huge, reader myself, the whole idea of like snuggling up with your love, reading a book
Mhm.
together on Christmas, that's like my dream life.
I really like the scene where the girl steals all the blankets. It's like,
Yeah.
oops, you're gonna have to share a blanket together.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey,
She's
yeah.
clever.
Let's
Oh,
like,
we're gonna have to share. Darn.
Uh-oh.
let's do a round of applause here for Delaney Quinn as a child actor.
She was
You
cute. Yeah.
killed it.
Yeah.
She was
So
really
good.
cute. Yeah.
Because of all the Hallmark, I feel like all Hallmarks require a little kid role.
Mhm.
I feel like they always have a little kid, and it's hit or miss whether they
Yeah.
are annoying or not.
Yeah.
She was not annoying.
Or whether they're
Yeah.
like written as humans even.
Yeah.
And this one definitely was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
relatable, like her arc of public speaking and all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I get that. I understand that.
And you're right. You were talking about new traditions, and like alongside Yokobokafladen and like the the boat parade, which was another fun tradition.
Oh yeah, that was
Mhm.
cool.
That was fun.
I like that, instead of like a cute dog, we had cute seals.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
that
like
was
a
fun.
fun twist as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and also I thought it was like, speaking of Delaney, I thought it was cute, the whole plot of her like writing the poem and reading the poem.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was cute.
But
It's precious.
she had to like have it memorized. I'm like, give her an index card or something, you guys.
Do you think you could? I mean, I guess I could have done that. I was like in Awana as a kid. and I don't-
No way. Not memorized. I could recite something, but
Mhm.
give me something to read.
Yeah.
No way
Yeah.
memorized.
Yeah, so the only real aside from being set in Mystic, the real homages, I guess, to Mystic Pizza was the Christmas pizza that they
Mhm.
keep bringing in every now and then. He brings her a pizza, and he's like that because it's red and green. It has spinach on it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Most pizzas are Christmas pizzas in that regard.
Yeah.
If you have any kind of vegetarian pizza, you've done
Yeah.
it. Mystic
Yeah, I guess so.
Christmas pizza.
But they could have brought even more Mystic Pizza into the movie, but
Mhm.
it was cute. I also really liked, even though it wasn't to her, it was to Brooke. I liked when he made the apology calzone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is this an apology calzone? Yes, it is.
Now, was the shop called Mystic Pizza?
That was called.
No, it was
Mangoes.
the cafe.
Come on, you guys.
I don't think
Like
it
it-
was, at
Mangoes
least.
Pizza is what it was called. Yeah.
They didn't even have any mangoes in it.
Yeah.
Now I was actually waiting. Speaking of the other employee, I can't remember her name, but she like her whole subplot is she
Brooke.
wants to be a manager and she
Brooke.
just
Yeah.
graduated
Yeah.
college and stuff. And like from jump, I was expecting a sub romance like competition plot here
Yeah.
where like they very obviously say that she's available because he's like, aren't you in high school? And she's like, not anymore, only when I started working here.
That
Now
was
I'm
funny.
graduating
She's like, I'm
college. And he's like,
graduating
oh.
college. Yeah,
Oh.
I was surprised they didn't hook her up with the other intern because they had
Yeah.
Eric and Nick. Then there was Peter. Yeah, Peter. That I think they could have that would have been cute.
He has history as his love.
Yeah. And you know what? Freaking Peter, he has me as his love. He's such a little weirdo. And I feel like Hallmark never lets somebody get this weird.
Yeah.
But he has this line that Robin and I decided is something we're just going to say to each other all the time. Robin's my wife. Where he like leans into the two of them, like when they're all hanging out, and he just says, savor this Christmas moment.
Yeah, you've said that to me before. But
yeah. Well, I thought that another tradition was fun is the painting of the sand dollars. And
yeah, that's cool.
And they were like, it's like a skeleton. I've never in my life thought of sand dollars as a skeleton, but I guess technically it is.
Yeah.
This script, I feel
it was
like
a good script.
Yeah.
There's some Hallmark movies that feel kind of rote, and I feel like regardless of plot, at least the dialogue of this script was pretty new. It's pretty
the banter was strong.
And I just like the just the quirk is original quirk. It wasn't like characters are like quirky, abstract, like in a random way. It's like this guy likes history.
Yeah.
And he keeps telling you, he's like, I'm busy with the Historical Society. And you actually see him at work in the Historical Society, and they have a good scene of what that actually looks like.
Well, I mean, just an example of pretty, I thought, smart writing is when they're planning their first like meetup or whatever, and she's just about to say it's a date, and then she says it's a day plan.
Yeah.
He's like, were you about to say it's a date, and then you panicked because you thought I would mean romantic date?
Yeah.
She's like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's good writing.
Yeah, she was the perfect kind of awkward, where it's very relatable awkward, and it's still very, very witty and very good banter.
Yeah, she's good. She's one of my favorites of the Hallmark leading ladies. Jessie.
So she's a staple.
Yeah, she's done a number of them over the years. She has one of my favorites called The Birthday Wish. For if you're talking non-Christmas, it's a favorite.
I never talk non-Christmas.
Yeah,
I was nervous. Her very first scene, she's like, I'm an awkward introvert. I'm like, oh boy, buckle up, because it was like really heavy-handed,
a little on the nose.
But then she really got into the groove in the next scene when she's on the phone with her friend. I'm like, oh, okay, we're in good hands.
I was so nervous the first 5 minutes when they're in like Amsterdam, and she's like, I don't want to come talk about Christmas with you guys because that's weird.
Yeah, I'm like, what's wrong with these guys?
Yeah, these guys seem fine. And then she sits next to a wall, and the camera doesn't move from her when she's talking to Candace back in Mystic. She's talking on the phone. The camera doesn't adjust for like 4 minutes of conversation, and poor Jessie Schramm just has to stand there and try to make this wall look interesting for 4 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
it's true.
Goodness, I can't believe that you like were chained to this wall to have a phone
and that's why she's so animated in the first scene, because it's like she's like, I have nowhere to go. I have only this little box to stand in.
But I did like, because it starts out in Amsterdam, which was a little cringe, but I liked the fact that later on she's going over all of these places. She's been like 13 places over all these years or whatever. And I liked when he was like, and Mystic, which is a place. That's pretty good. Because so often we treat things that are familiar as having less value. You know?
Yeah.
Because
they're wanted to like completely, I mean, it's that same thing where it's like, can you forget a movie? Like if you could forget a movie just so that you could come to it fresh and see what it would look like as a new thing. I want to do that with a city I live in sometime, where I just want all of it to be erased and to kind of view my city as a tourist.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah,
And
that would
start
be
fresh.
really
Well,
cool.
when new people do come to visit, it is almost like seeing your city from that fresh perspective.
Yeah, because they're like,
there's
can we go here? And you're like, oh, yeah, I guess we can go here. Are you
yeah.
sure?
Yeah. I
I've
mean, I
never in
feel
my
that
life,
way because
but-
there's stuff I never do unless I have visitors. Then it's like, oh, well, yeah, let's go hear the Tabernacle Choirs thing, or let's go. Not that I'm opposed to those things. It's just you just kind of forget. And
Yeah.
and
Be a tourist in your own city. You heard
yeah,
it here on
it's
Hallmark.
true.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Rachel Fordham and her new book, The Letter Tree. As much as we'd love a long, drawn-out romance that spans many seasons, sometimes we are ready for a happily ever after right now. Rachel Fordham is author of 6 published novels with more on the way. They will transport you to another time, fill your heart, and leave you eager for more. Grab a copy of her latest novel, The Letter Tree, today, wherever you purchase books, or use our affiliate link below, and see why so many Hallmarkies have fallen in love with her sigh-worthy stories. That's Rachel Fordham and The Letter Tree.
Totally. And I do like her career being veterinarian, like superstar like this.
Yeah.
Which is a lot better than creative magazine editor for magazine creative things.
Yeah, that's true. Or like a photographer that we've
Yeah.
seen a million times.
And
And
besides Peter, for her intern, she has Eric and who's the other one?
This cast list on IMDb putting us down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I thought it was a cute little the Eric and Nick. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And their banter
Because
desserts.
Eric doesn't like sweets like at
Mhm.
all.
And Nick is a sweets
But
maker.
he pretends to like sweets because he likes Nick.
Yeah.
That was cute. That was fun.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute too. Nick, I think Eric, there's somebody better out there for Eric though, because Nick is
Well, he's
pretty-
gonna have to switch to just savory treats.
no. I just think Nick's a huge dweeb, where he's like having a
deserve each
different
other.
conversation with different people, and he just runs over and he's like, "Tell me the history of this," as if like and then he runs away really fast.
You
as if
do
he's,
that.
as if he's gonna go tell.
You
like,
do that.
not
When we
like-
go to the coffee shops, you just run into people. You ask them for the history of.
You're right. No. This is weird because he's like having a conversation with his own people. He runs over to them. He's like, "Tell me the history of hot chocolate," and then he runs back like he's gonna tell the group the history of hot chocolate. Then he runs and
Mhm.
collects more information. I think he's using Eric, and I think I'm not here for it.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
here for
No, I'm fine.
exploitation of the boyfriend.
I'm fine with it. I just think
Yeah, yeah.
they're getting married. I hope it works out for them. I hope
But
it's
what-
just not all about the information
what-
that Eric
what-
can glean for him.
At the wedding, what would the cake be? Like, would it be topped with ham and croissant? Like, it's gotta be a savory treat.
like a
It can't be
savory,
a sweet cake.
like a
It's gotta be like-
charcuterie board
yeah.
as a
Ooh,
cake.
that sounds nice.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
It's just a honey ham.
You could have like a wet bar almost.
Yeah, sure.
Sour,
Yeah.
like layers.
It's just a cheese plate.
Like an oyster together or something.
It would be hard to make that a messy first bite when you're feeding each other. You're
Yeah.
like, here, have some Parmesan.
But like, this
Um,
movie wrapped itself up pretty well. Like even the
Yeah,
other intern,
I
she
did like
really
the
wanted to go to
ending.
New Zealand, couldn't get into New Zealand, and then like ended up
Right.
taking the job in South Africa that Juniper was originally going to do.
Spin off. Spin off.
So yeah, I mean, Juniper, she says, "I never stay in the same place, and you never leave.
Mhm.
You're stuck here." And
Mhm.
so that's kind of our main plot. Is that that's the main conflict of the couple? Is he willing to leave? Is she willing to stay?
Yeah.
And I did like her sort of awkwardness about being the boss, because she is usually such a nomad. She's not used to managing people. And I thought that she was very endearing with that, and she's like, "Don't think of me as your boss, think of me as head seal lady."
Yeah.
That's funny.
And
That's cute.
I didn't even put it together, but she's an awkward boss and he's a too confident boss where he's like, I can handle any kind of management, but he's
Yeah.
not good at delegating.
Mhm.
And it feels like she's much better at like employing her team to like help out and pitch in.
Yeah.
Did you guys
I
think
also-
something? Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
Did you guys think something bad was going to happen at the pizza place?
Like,
Like, what do you mean bad?
Well, yeah, because like he puts like his
Oh,
whole- his
there's
whole
gonna be
thing is, like,
disaster.
he's worried about like letting things go, and then what's her name?
Mhm.
The other
Yeah.
girl is like, I found something wrong. And then like the thing she found wrong is like, oh, I actually fixed it. It's fine. And I'm like, well,
I don't think it's that wrong if you could
yeah,
fix it like that.
I was expecting some more drama. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think that might have made sense because when he gets upset with Brooke, it felt like, wow, this is like really harsh for a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
And because she's done a good job. Like if it had been
Yeah.
kind of chaos, it would have made a little bit more sense, but he's just like in a bad mood. But then it didn't make up for, like I said, I thought the apology calzone was really fun.
Yeah.
That was funny and cute.
And you know, for a Hallmark movie, I don't want anything disastrous to happen.
Yeah.
That's too much.
It would have to
drama.
just be more of like a hijinks, kind of like, woo,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know?
no.
no fires.
No fires in a
Yeah.
Hallmark
What about a
movie.
burnt pizza?
Ooh, that would have been a
or
good
something like I can see
conflict.
that.
There you go. There's your.
I ruined the girls' soccer night.
Mhm.
Okay. Also, can we talk about the fact that soccer team in the middle of winter in Connecticut? No,
It's indoor soccer.
no,
It's
th-
indoor
true.
soccer.
So as somebody who's played indoor soccer for a very long time, it is an intramural sport that is very, very, very rarely done in a team context with coaches. It is much more for like adults.
This is how the East Coast works, Kelly.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
West Coast. You're a lot more loose.
Sure.
They
okay.
have championships.
It should
They
have
have
been like
leagues.
it should have been team ice skating.
Yeah.
Well, but I think where you see like decent writing coming in this is little things like the whole thing of what is she going to respond to his text about
the text.
the back and forth.
Bro,
and
his response. I was so disappointed
the
in
thumbs
him.
up emoji when she's like, I can't make it. And
Sounds good.
Yeah, I
sounds
really
good.
like
Thumbs
that. But,
up.
like,
That was good. That was smart writing.
Yeah, it was.
it was
Yeah.
that was very smart writing. I thought it was like it was pretty I'm glad they ended up calling out all the stuff that could have been bad writing. They ended up calling out themselves and hanging a lampshade on
Yeah,
it
they
a
were like,
little
you
bit, but
thumbs
where
up emoji me.
Yeah.
all she had to do was say, hey, the seal got sick, I have to take it up north.
Yeah.
Like that's all she had to say, and none of the drama would have
Oh
happened.
no. I really do think there's more like subtext going on with her, that I think she was very much afraid of this date. And
I think so too.
that
Because
she didn't want to get into it and was more just pushing
Yeah.
him away again.
I think so too, because she could have easily been like, hey, just come over to and hang out with Peppermint and me.
Yeah,
because I have to do
he
this.
had been doing that. He had been,
Yeah.
and once he actually found out, he's like, Peppermint's sick again.
Yeah.
And so then like, but he doesn't want to seem like a jerk, but he doesn't want to totally brush it off. But he's like, okay, thumbs up emoji. Like
We've all been there. How do you respond to that?
And there's a fine line between low key and passive aggressive. That was good.
Let's talk about the guy.
Uh-huh.
Our gentleman.
Yeah, our gentleman.
So
whose
Chandler
name we do not
Massey.
know.
Yeah.
Sawyer.
No, not gentleman. I love Chandler Massey. I don't even need to talk about him. He's beautiful, funny, and should be in every movie.
Mhm.
He's I think he's a great Hallmark lead because he's like your everyman kind of guy. Like
Mhm.
Let's talk about that head of hair as well.
yeah.
Good head of hair.
He's very easy to kind of connect with, which just makes him super charming.
I had one chemistry problem though. There's
Uh-huh.
later on when they're together and everything's good, they like embrace and she like scruffs his beard a little.
Uh-huh.
Not romantically, it was more like a you're such a cute dog kind of like scruffing up his beard.
It was a little too much like Peppermint.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's it. Maybe
She wants
she's
him
just
to be a seal, like I said.
she really like at the very end, like they embrace and she like does this to his beard, like, oh, you're so cute kind of thing. But it's like, that's how you touch your seals. That's not how you touch a like romantic gentleman's beard.
I have a theory that Jessie Schramm has never kissed somebody with a beard, and that was her first time.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
she was
what do
just
I do with this thing
"Whoa,
here?"
Whoa, look at all this hair on your face.
No, but no, I really do. That's my headcanon now. It's like, ooh, my cute it's a seal little
She
thing.
calls him a pup.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of wondered about this movie is I kind of wonder if the whole thing with the mom and dad got cut way down, because it seemed a little weird to me that they just have basically one scene with her calling the mom on the cruise and her mom saying self-sacrifice is no way to start a relationship.
Yeah. And I love that both of them though were in green screen studios. That was really cool.
Oh yeah. And then the dad is out hiking And he says 50% excited, 50% terrified. When either reaches 51%, you'll know. It's like they needed both those characters for literally one scene, but it just didn't make sense to me that they would do that for just one scene. So I gotta believe that there was more, and that ended up getting cut.
I agree. And what did you guys think of the parents' advice? Like, where do you come down on the advice, whether it's well written or not? Where do you come down on the actual advice?
I feel like the 50% excited, 50% terrified. When either reaches 51, you'll know. I think that's pretty solid.
I think that's a good line, but I think our character of Juniper is the wrong person to say that to, because she is such a flip-flopper.
Yeah, that's fair.
So true.
As soon as she's like, "Oh, I'm really excited to stay in Mystic. Maybe I'll just do that now." But then, like, she's gonna be 51 like the next week. I feel like she needs 90%.
I
and then
think
she'll know.
I think Candace says, "Are you running from something or are you running to something?" Doesn't she say that?
Yeah, that's a good
think
line.
That's what she needs to hear.
Yeah.
Because that's how she's been living her life, is that she's, I don't know, is she running from the last place to the next place, or is it about going to the next place and not running?
I mean, the self-sacrifice I wrote down, that is not true. I think that this is a terrible, because I mean, people always say like, oh, is marriage 50-50? And I'm not married, but in my opinion, it's 100-100. Like, you can't, it's not 50-50.
There is
like, you
not
have to,
equal give and take.
Yeah. It's like you sacrifice a ton to be in a relationship. Everybody does, because I mean, otherwise I would be almost concerned that, are you being dominated? Like, everybody has to kind of give to be in any not even just marriage, but a friendship.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice some.
If you are in a relationship with someone you love, you don't really think of it like, well, I gave up X. Like, if you're to the point where you're committed to a person, you don't measure that anymore. You just kind of say, what can we do together as a team here and have the best lives for ourselves? And you're not thinking of your own personal gain.
Yeah, because it's not really sacrificing because you become like, you have become us.
Yeah.
You know,
her mom's like, you should settle.
Combined goals.
I think her mom was like, hey, honey, you know, this is mama's vacation time, right?
I'm sacrificing right now.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice. You just got to pick the man who runs a cruise ship. Yeah, you sacrificed hard here. Oh, or you.
Hello, Rodrigo. Sorry, I have to go.
But it shouldn't necessarily, I guess, feel like a sacrifice, because you love the person. And so, but I don't know. I mean, just the idea that, like, oh, if you feel like self-sacrifice is no way to start a relationship, I think that's terrible.
I think, like, something I think about is, like, Kelly and I, do film work, and it's easier to do here in Portland, Oregon. But if I had to go to like a Hallmark town where it's like remote from everything, and you can't like network with other film people, it's like, if Sarah is like, we're moving to Mystic, Connecticut, I'd be like, well, I'm excited for the pizza. I'm not so excited about my career prospects at that point.
Yeah.
That would be kind of a sacrifice in some sense, but she can do the exact thing that she does in her career. What is she truly sacrificing if she stays in Mystic? There's Peppermint. There's all these Peppermint's gone, but there's animals. There's plenty of things for her to do to live her life.
I have a solve for this, actually. I was thinking about it in the movie. I was like, you know what she needs is I would love her to be filling out like I would have loved it if her parents weren't world travelers, but if her parents were settlers, and they had planned to travel together to all these places, but they got divorced and they ended up like falling into their careers and only living in one place. And so she's fulfilling their dreams that they never had, where she's like going to all these cities. Like, maybe her parents had a map with all these places they wanted to travel, and she's trying to check off all of these boxes before she settles somewhere.
That's
then,
true. If there had been, that might have added a layer. If, like, let's say her beloved grandma had this bucket list of all the places she wanted to go, and so
Yeah.
she was
Beloved
going to
grandma's
all those
better, yeah.
places, or you know what I mean, something like that. That would have had more of a emotional reason for why, kind of like in Why You Were Sleeping. You know,
Yeah,
where she
yeah.
has this like very emotional reason for wanting to get all those stamps in her passport, and the fact that she has this, like, you know,
Good
that.
call.
And so I think that would have maybe added a layer. I think that's fair.
Also,
But yeah,
she's had plenty of good experiences. 13 years of traveling. It's like,
yeah,
you're good. Like, you've done a lot of traveling for most people. I think you're okay
Yeah.
now to take a break.
and you
Yeah,
have like
you're
different seasons of
36.
life.
Get back out there. It's
Yeah, you
fine.
got more time.
Yeah, you have like different seasons of life. Like, and I tell it sometimes with people as far as the podcast, like we've had different co-hosts come in and out, and you know, you have different seasons when people, you know, have the ability to work on this with me, and then other times when they can't do it, and it's totally fine. But that's just, you just hopefully appreciate the season that you're in when you're in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kelly and I are a little stressed by the season that we're in.
Yeah.
Because we both have toddlers, and we're
Yeah,
both trying
that's
to
a
make
tough
these
one.
movies, and we wish we could just sit and talk about movies, but we have too many other things going on.
There's so little time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, you know, we're all like, and our wives both, you know, do work as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And it's but we know that like this will eventually also become something else at the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that actually might have been something that Candace, if like, so her best friend Candace, if she
Yeah.
hadn't been so, I'm not going to get involved, I would have loved that coming from her, being like,
Mhm.
hey, I was married and now I'm divorced and now I'm like raising a child. And I love how they don't say that in the movie too. They like skirt around the word divorce.
Mhm. Right.
But they like, she's like, this is, you know, this is where I'm at. And, you know, I'm a full-time worker and a mom in a small town. And, you know, who knows if I'm ever going to fall in love again, or that's even going to be part of my life. But this is the
Mhm.
season I'm in now. That would be nice.
Well, I
I
mean,
like her
that's
take.
why I did like the ending of this movie. The fact that as a couple, they made both of their dreams come true of
Mhm.
what they wanted. And instead of it just being like, well, one of us has to give up, they kind of proved a mom wrong in a way.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
I liked that the moment where she's like, I'm staying here. He's like, I'm taking off. And it's like, oh, crap. What are we going to
Yeah.
do about this? There's still more to figure out.
Well, I also really liked another there's no such thing as the right time. There's only right now. That was I thought a pretty good line.
Yeah.
It sounds like an 80s ballad. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Like Richard Marx or something.
Yeah.
And then the little girl reads the poem, and that was very sweet.
Mhm.
And then I really thought there was a good scene when they show her the northern lights in the planetarium. That was really nice.
We can just
And-
emulate the things that you like to see. You can just stay here.
Yeah, hey.
We'll get an IMAX screening of Norway next time.
Like, I have
how
to
you should
admit,
do it.
I mean, I do enjoy traveling, but I also like. I think the whole like Epcot version of traveling, I think, is like also very appealing. It's like I can
Yeah.
just check off like 8
Yeah.
different countries
Sure.
in one day.
I like doing a California adventure. Like I don't need to see all of California. I can just go to Anaheim and get the whole adventure in one go.
You can
Michael
just do soaring
Eisner
over
would like
California.
you.
Like I've seen the whole thing.
Yeah. You want me to go to San Francisco now? No.
I don't need to smell a real orange. They have it sprayed in my face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about being a movie fan is I can just go to all these different time periods and places and but it was a nice moment, and I thought they had a really long hug, and it was pretty swoon worthy. And she says it might be better than the real Northern Lights. That was good.
Do you guys think like they had the most romantic weekend ever? They said, right?
Right. Oh yeah, to start out the movie.
Details.
What does that entail in a Hallmark movie? So that's my question.
Right.
I think it's best imagined.
I did kind of wonder about that.
You've been doing a lot of imagining recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they had spent the most romantic weekend of my life.
Now, weekend, not a night, a weekend.
Weekend. And then they both say that.
I feel like there's something I do like leaving it up to imagination in a certain sense of like not spelling out every minute of that weekend for us. We can really be like, no, it was the most like of all the romances, like not just their romantic.
Well,
that's what I project on them. It is the most romantic
for them.
Yeah.
I don't see the
You really need it spelled out for you.
I don't need it spelled out, but I don't see Juniper and Sawyer, two of the most awkward, not the most awkward. They're not George Costanza, but two admittedly awkward human beings having a romantic weekend. I don't think that's going to be the most romantic love story ever told.
But wait, but the thing is though, is that would she have been so mad by him not responding to her email that she wouldn't have just called him up and been like, what's going on?
Yeah.
If it was really the most romantic weekend of her life,
right?
I'd call.
I'd be like, what's up? Maybe that was before cell phones. She's like, I'm traveling. I don't really have extra pounds.
They've had cell phones since 1987.
Not her. No. You can tell she was. She had a laptop. Never mind.
I did think that it was pretty fun banter though. The whole thing with the meet cute in the cafe, and I thought it would be weird if you walked in and saw me, so I thought I'd hide.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
That was pretty funny.
I just liked the back and forth of like, I emailed you back. Check your spam. Like he's like, I'm very confident. Like this is.
I've been that. Before. I've been that confident.
I just feel like there's no world where you wouldn't call and be like, "What's up? Why didn't you email me back?"
Can I bring a new segment to the Hallmarkies really quick?
Please.
Okay, it's that Hallmark movie quirk. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, every Hallmark movie I watch now, I look for that one quirk that I see across lots of Hallmark movies.
Yep.
And in this one, the quirk was, I'm going to point out what's over there, and I'm going to say, look at that thing over there. And it's a dialogue choice that I think is kind of filler, where they're like filming two people watching somebody, and the actors they don't have any dialogue written for this moment, and so they have to kind of fill it in themselves in the moment, improv it.
Yeah.
And Juniper, about 8 times in the movie, whether they're watching boats, whether they're watching seals, or whether they're watching whatever, she says, oh, look at that, do you see that? And then like the filmmakers have to do like a cut to of like, it's a boat, and like she says that to Sawyer 3 times while they're watching boats, and Robin and I were like, what's over there? What's over there? Do you see that? And it was just like this quirk that I see that these actors have to do because there's not dialogue written for those moments where they have to just kind of like find some filler. And I liked seeing that because it brings me like a little bit of silly joy.
I can see that. I also thought it was really funny that like how much time was spent on these flyers. And like,
Juniper's like, I can't possibly handle flyers. Someone needs to jump in here and help.
It's like
me
we
out.
have to go to the special printer. We have to get it specially done. Like this is going to make all the difference in the world. As if you wouldn't just send out like a mass email, Facebook post, and
This is mystic. We do things physically here.
Okay. Yeah. And who's the old guy? What's the trope called in Hallmark where you have like the old? He didn't fill this trope this time, but you have the old, like kind of mystical, pun intended, I guess. Guy who is like, I see things and the way they're really going, and I'm pushing you towards like falling in love. And the old guy in this town wasn't that exactly, but he kept showing up and being in people's business. And
Yeah, he was
he's like,
busybody matchmaker.
yeah, busybody
Call it.
matchmaker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he kept like being like, we couldn't have done this without you and
Yeah.
those flyers.
The flyers.
Why'd you think I
We're
insist
really
on you
big.
do
The
it?
flyers.
I feel like he's not in the cast list that we can find. I
Yeah.
feel like he is a producer or an owner of Hallmark, and
Yeah.
he's just like, I want a part in the next movie.
Yeah, I could believe that.
I think he is magical.
Oh, you don't think he was like he just showed up on set and everybody's like,
Yeah.
who's this?
Well, no,
"I'm here."
because they had this kind of role in the Princess Switch, right? It was like
Mhm.
some kind of magical leprechaun guy.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
like a
expecting
Christmas
from this
leprechaun,
guy.
and I think he just shapeshifts, and he just
Mhm.
like hops from movie to movie, and like I'm the old man now, and I kind of work everywhere.
I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Do you agree that it can't be the best Christmas song if it's under 30 years old?
I don't know where this debate came from. That's a weird rule.
I think I'm gonna say it takes a good 10 years of proving whether it's gonna stick around. So
Okay.
I think I'm gonna alter mine to 10. It can't be the best Christmas song if it's under 10 years.
How old is
Okay.
Ding Dong Merrily on High?
And that's old.
Okay, then
Yeah.
actually it has to be 100 years old.
Oh, come on now.
At least I think it
Not
is. I
Merrily on
don't
High
know.
is
Yeah.
yours?
My Christmas music, 99% of the time it's choral Christmas music. It is not the Bing Crosby
Not
crooner
standards, yeah.
standards,
Mhm.
not the
I mean-
Santa Claus is coming to town.
I like both. I'll even do some Wham. I'll get some Paul McCartney up in there.
Now I do like a rendition of
1924.
Last Christmas. 1924.
Well, yeah,
100.
Ding Dong Merrily and High.
Okay.
We're coming up on 100. But I do like a good Last Christmas, and I do like a good any other songs from the Last Christmas soundtrack I'm good with.
Okay. I want everybody's favorite and least favorite Christmas song, because that is a
Yeah,
game
we want to
played in this
hear.
movie. What is it?
I mean,
Rachel?
oh, for me,
Yeah.
my favorite spiritual one is What Child Is This, which is way
Mhm.
old. And then my favorite like secular one is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, which
Oh,
is also
heartbreaking.
old.
It's very
Yeah.
good.
So those are my
What about
two
you?
favorite.
Least favorite.
Yeah.
I actually get really bugged by Grinch Christmas music. I don't need to
Okay.
hear it. I
Okay.
don't need Boris
Oh,
Karloff.
we're asking least favorite.
Yeah,
I
that
missed
was
that
the
part
other
of.
half.
I missed that part of the question. Sorry. My least favorite. I'm not a big fan of the 12 Days of Christmas. I think it's
Oh,
your
yeah. That gets tired.
it's
Goes
your
on a little
Christmas
bit.
drinking song.
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
round. Like
Yeah.
and then also I don't love the Little Drummer Boy. Those are my two.
Yeah,
least
that's a hard
favorite.
one to like.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
only one good version of that, and it's with
David
David
Bowie.
Bowie
Yeah.
and Bing Crosby singing together, which is just an odd pairing.
But it's a good one.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
don't, so my least favorite is Grinch Christmas music. I don't need Boris Karloff lecturing me.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
I don't need to hear
I
that.
wouldn't touch you with a 39.5 foot pole.
And your favorite?
It's been rotating a lot. Today it's Ding Dong Merrily on High.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I'm gonna give this to the audience of the Hallmarkies. Do yourself, I don't know if I call it a favor, but go listen to
Don't curse them with this.
go listen to Christmas in the Northwest. It is the
Uh-huh.
worst Christmas song
Oh.
ever.
Okay.
And
They played it all the time on radio stations in the tri-state area.
What?
of the
Washington,
Northwest.
Idaho, and Oregon will just play Christmas. in the-
And it is just a my
sounds
favorite line
bad.
in it is, it's a gift God wrapped in green. It's pretty bad. But Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is probably my
Yeah,
favorite
it's
of all
so
time.
good.
Yeah.
Well, and I did kind of admire that they pull out this donkey song that I had never heard of. I mean,
I like
have
how she
heard
doesn't even explain it. She's like the
Yeah,
donkey
she's just
song.
like, oh, I
Yeah.
love the donkey
She's
song.
like, I
I'm
don't
like,
even
what
know the-
is that?
The name.
That was a really
Dominic the
good
donkey.
Yeah, that was a really good back and forth take. It's like, okay, I mean, like from a filmmaking point of view, I'm like, they got the rhythm. They know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
This is a good.
Yeah, the only Christmas donkey that I ever heard of is the old Rankin Bass short Nestor
Yeah.
the Long-Eared Donkey.
I thought that's what
Is that the song?
I thought that was the
No,
one in the same.
It's called Dominic the Donkey. It's like a real song.
Is his name not Dominic? The long-eared one?
No, it's Nestor. Nestor the Long-Eared
So
Donkey.
many donkeys at Christmas.
I know.
You don't get a Christmas donkey at Christmas?
Do you not ride the Christmas donkey?
Yeah.
I never
It's
have.
a tradition. You go out to Savi's Island and get on that donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just ride it around the farm and
Yeah.
they shoot snow at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was funny. But overall, I thought the movie elevated itself because of the cast. I thought Jesse and Chandler were really charming, had good chemistry together, and I thought the banter was really solid. And I just appreciated that they tried hard to make something fresh and fun. Like I said, the book tradition, the book flood was really fun. I enjoyed that
And not
very
dangerous
much.
in the least.
No.
Yeah, and they managed to pack a lot of story
Yeah.
into
And I just like the
little.
world that they had of all these other other cast of characters, and none of them got annoying and none of them distracted from the plot, because I hate a subplot that diverges, like we are like following we got to worry about the bake sale or something like that, and never gets distracted.
Yeah, it all felt like really tightly woven.
Yeah.
It
So,
was.
How many sand dollars would you guys give this movie? How many painted Christmas sand dollars?
Out of how many?
I think I would give it 4. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. 4
4
out of 5 crowns, as we normally say.
Yeah. I'd give it 4 of like in the Hallmark spectrum.
Yeah, like
4 out of
comparing
5.
it to other Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 4. You might even get me some eggnog and I can get you up to 4.5.
Yeah. I think I'm right between 4 and 4.5. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And the Christmas trivia scene, that was pretty fun.
I wanted to hear
that.
what movie questions they failed on. I wanted to make fun.
I know.
Yeah, me too. I never had. I wanted to watch people do trivia more.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to know what kind of questions Sawyer would come up with. Like what because the questions he was coming up with after the fact is like, where are you getting this trivia, sir? Like, I appreciate all of it, but I don't usually hear those questions at our trivia night. It's usually they usually stick to just one theme. But they were all over the place. I like it.
Yeah. Did you have Kelly, did you have a score?
Yeah, 4 to 4.5.
4,
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
great.
Like I said, I think this is one of my favorite Hallmark movies. I have a very fond memory of watching Jewel State and in one years and years and years ago alongside Betty White, I believe. And
Betty
so,
White.
So like that, I have that might be my other favorite Christmas one, but right now this one's top 2 at least.
What is that one? I want to look it up.
There's more. I mean, I really want to see what it's like a gauntlet. It's like, who will take down this one for you? Like, how do we get it? How do we find the 5 out of 5 Christmas Hallmark film for you? That's what we got to find.
Yeah, that would be fun. Maybe I try to think of one.
That's our challenge to you, is to find the next one that's that 5 out of 5.
Oh, is it the Christmas? No.
Anyway, maybe they weren't even in it together. Maybe it was 2 playing side by side.
Well,
the double bill.
Well, I tell you one that I think is a 5 out of 5 is called Christmas Pen Pals. You should look that one up.
Wait, is that also like a You've Got Mail kind of deal?
Not really. It's a little different. This whole town, it's a whole town of people that are matched up with pen pals each holidays. And Sarah Drew and Nell Mater end up getting matched up, and they had previously been in love, high school sweethearts, things have fallen away. And they're writing each other letters. They don't know they're writing each other letters. So it is a little bit.
So it's a white elephant type letter system.
It's so good. Michael Gross is in it, who's one of my faves.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's really good. It's really good. Anyway, there's a lot of fun ones out there. I think this was a pretty good Hallmark movie. So let us know what you think if you are listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts, what you thought of Mystic Christmas. And we'll be excited to see what you all come up with in your new projects. You have to keep us posted.
Oh, we will. We will.
Yeah. So
we're shooting next week. Probably, when this comes out. So that'll be
well, not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing. We're shooting promo.
That makes it sound like it's coming out soon. We're not quite there, but
no, but we're shooting something.
Yeah,
that's exciting to do. That's great. Well, congratulations, and thanks so much for coming on. It was fun to get an update, and I know it's on hiatus, but if people want to listen to the past episodes, how do they do that?
Yep, just Rom-Com Gents on all your favorite podcast places.
Yep.
Great.
3 separate words.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot, especially during this time of year. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Most of our YouTube viewers aren't subscribers. So if you're in that group, please subscribe. It really helps the algorithm a lot. And we also have our patron group, which is so much fun and a chance to hear from talent like Jesse and other fun people. And we also have our merch store where we have new designs that are sort of Barbie inspired, which are fun. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. And thanks so much, both of you. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.